The first thing we need to do in order to test and build for a mobile device is to change our build platform. Before we do that, however, I'd like to take a look at a few of our scripts to identify some of the code that's going to change when we do this. The first script I want to look at is the player input PC script. Namely, I want to identify lines 18 through 23, where we're doing some platform-specific code. What this effectively means is that we've written some code that is only going to function on certain platforms. We can see on line 18 that we are looking for the Android, iOS, or Windows Phone 8 platforms. Since lines 19 through 22 are grayed out, we can tell that we're not currently on those platforms. If we switch over to either Android, iOS, or Windows Phone 8 though, we'll see these lines appear just like regular code. The next script I want to look at is the Character Spotlight script. In this script, we have an if-else statement identifying our platforms. We can see that if we are on Android, iOS, or Windows Phone 8, we're going to activate the Spotlight Mobile game object, which is the parent of the two character spotlights we're using in our scene to identify the playable characters and our player selection screen. If we're not on Android, iOS, or Windows Phone 8, then instead we're going to activate the Spotlight PC game object. This is the single spotlight we use on any platform that has a mouse that follows our mouse cursor around while we're selecting our player character. There are several more instances of this platform-defined code throughout the scripts in the Zombie Toys project. Anytime you see any of this platform-specific code, just know that whether or not that code is active depends entirely on the platform you're set to currently build for. Back in Unity, let's go ahead and change our build platform. I'm going to do this by going to File, and then Build Settings. I can see in the lower left-hand corner of the Build Settings window all of the different platforms I'm able to build for. I'm going to go ahead and choose Android, and then click Switch Platform. Changing the platform can take a little while because Unity has to re-import and configure all of our assets. Now that our switch to the new mobile platform is complete, let's go back to those scripts and look at that platform-specific code again. We'll see now in the Character Spotlight script that the Spotlight Mobile game object is the one that's going to get set to active. Unity and MonoDevelop recognize that we are now on the Android platform and has set the appropriate spotlight to turn on. Again, in the player input PC script, we can see now that lines 19 through 22 are active. What this effectively means is that when this script first wakes up, it removes itself from the player. We don't need the player input PC script if we're not on a standalone platform. You may also notice that things look different in our scene. Because we've changed our platforms, our light maps may not work correctly until we rebake them. Another thing worth noting is that our shadow quality will probably not be as good. Mobile platforms generally don't support shadows with as great of detail as standalone platforms do. Before doing anything else in our project, let's go ahead and hit play and see what it does. We'll see that we now have the two spotlights, and we can select one of the characters because a touch on a mobile device is the same as a single mouse click. However, we have no way of interacting with the game from here on out. We can see that obviously we need to implement our behaviors that's going to allow us to play this game without a keyboard and mouse. You may also notice that the game looks slightly different graphically. This is because some of the lighting effects aren't supported on mobile platforms, specifically things like high-resolution shadows. You'll notice both player character models, as well as some of the environment pieces, have shadows on the ground. However, those shadows are very low resolution. Mobile devices generally aren't as powerful as computers, and therefore need to reduce the quality on a few of the graphical features. We could go into our quality settings and increase the resolution of these shadows. However, we may run into the issue where some lower to even medium-end hardware will no longer be able to run the project. As it stands, let's leave it like this for now. We can always tweak later if we need to.